Hi guys, so today is the first day of my internship and I am excited, nervous, don't really know what to expect all at the same time, but it's okay. I've had an internship before. But before I hop in the video and actually talk to you guys about how to get an internship, I figured I would just go ahead and show you my little outfit just so I can document this day. I'm just wearing this shirt. This is from Zaful. It's kind of like a thick, canvasy material. I'm just wearing a pair of capri style black pants and then just a pair of little pink loafers. I honestly don't know how people in this office dress, but I want to, dress for success. So this is what I'm wearing. For those of you that are wondering, my office is about a mile away from my work. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave now and I will let you guys know how it goes when I get back. All right, so I am back from my internship and I think I'm going to love it. Obviously with any new job, I feel like you kind of have that nervous feeling that you don't really know if it's gonna go well or if it's meant to be. And I definitely think that this is all meant to be and that I am going to have a ball in the office this summer. Before I start with how to get an internship, I did just want to put something out there. If you are in college and maybe you are unmotivated because you don't have an internship yet, etc., etc., get motivation because I promise you, you can find one. Even though summer has already started, you can find one. You guys know my friend Brady, he didn't have one and he actually just found one. So we've been on summer break for 3 weeks now and he just found one in Charlotte where internships are super competitive. So yeah, that's just a little bit of, motivation I have for you. And another thing that I wanted to mention is this is how to get a summer internship. As far as getting school credit for internships, I have no idea how that works, to be honest with you guys. I've never done that and I probably won't be doing it, but I do know a lot of majors require you to have an internship in order to graduate. So if you have questions about that, I would talk to your advisor because I just don't want to give anybody the wrong answers. Also, I did ask you guys on Instagram if you had any specific questions. So if you DM'd me with questions, stay tuned until the end of the video and I will be answering all of those. But let's go ahead and get started. First thing you need to do when you're looking for an internship is figure out what kind of internship do you want. Meaning, do you want to have a paid internship or an unpaid internship? Obviously, who doesn't want to get paid to be at an internship? I would want to get paid. But not every internship is going to be able to offer you monetary compensation for being there. What a lot of people don't realize is yeah, you may have an unpaid internship, but that is gonna go so far because you could end up getting a job offer from that company. And just the experience in general, even if you're not getting paid, is gonna help in the long run with you getting a big girl job. But at the same time, some people cannot afford to spend their time at an unpaid internship because they have bills to pay. So that's just the first really important thing you need to figure out, whether you can do a paid internship or afford to do an unpaid internship. Next is whether or not you want to be full-time or part-time. So I know full-time sounds awesome, yes, money, 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 but it's important to remember that this is your summer break and do you really want to sit behind a desk for all of your summer break? And if you do, that's totally fine. However, speaking from experience, last summer I had a paid internship. It was pretty much full-time, so I would be there Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and I would have to sit in the office by myself on Sunday from 9 to 5. And I remember at first when I got the job, I was yes, I'm gonna get so many hours, I'm gonna make so much money. And then a few weeks into it, I was oh my goodness, I'm sitting behind a desk my entire summer. And I actually ended up leaving that internship early just because I was going crazy into my head, not having any time to be outside. So this summer, I definitely made it a priority to make sure I was not gonna have a full-time internship. My internship is part-time now, so I only have to be there at 9 to 1. That is basically gonna be depending on the company. If you find a full-time internship and you don't wanna work full-time, it's definitely worth a shot to ask them if they can do part-time, but it just comes down to whatever the company has to offer. And next, do you want to get an internship that's in relation to what you're studying or just some kind of random internship to keep you busy? This can kind of go either way. I understand just wanting an internship to keep you busy, but at the end of the day, it's really important to kind of get an internship that can at least help you a little bit in the long run, because the whole point of an internship is to gain experience. So I personally would not want to be spending a whole summer learning about something that isn't really going to help me in the long run. Last summer, I had an internship doing real estate and I have absolutely no interest in real estate. I kind of just got it because I wanted something to keep me busy and a way to get paid. So that kind of taught me the lesson to really only get an internship with what I want to do with my future. But once again, that's a really personal question, so it honestly comes down to whichever you prefer. All right, so the next is the biggest question I've been getting, and it's where do I find an internship? Where do I go to see the listings? Do I reach out? Do they contact me? What happens? So if you're in college, the first thing I would recommend, and I think most colleges have these, at least UNCC does, but there's usually a portal that you can go on, and companies in these surrounding areas will post on that portal and give you a bunch of job listings. So for UNC Charlotte, it's called Hire a Niner, and you can basically just go on there and scroll down and see all the different positions that they have, and it allows you usually to just apply straight on that website. If you're not sure if your school offers this, what I would do is just go onto Google and type in the name of your school, internship. So UNC Charlotte internship, and it will usually come up with some info as far as like how they disperse their internships. The next way, which is what Brady did, and this is also super up and coming, is using LinkedIn. I would 1000% using LinkedIn. I've applied to so many and heard back from internships also through LinkedIn. And if you guys aren't aware of what LinkedIn is, it's basically a social media platform for business communications. So it's kind of like the Facebook of the business world. You don't use it to post like pictures of your family on vacation or what you did last night. You basically just use it to talk about what's going on in your business life and communicate with coworkers or former coworkers, anything like that. LinkedIn is free, so you can basically just make an account for completely free, and you basically just list any of your prior work experience as well as kind of like a statement about yourself, and you add a profile picture. Just make sure it's professional looking, because these potential employers will be able to see what you look like. And then LinkedIn actually has a jobs tab, and you can just click that and then scroll through all of their jobs. So I would totally recommend using LinkedIn. This is not sponsored by them whatsoever, but it's just an amazing resource. And the final way, which is actually what I did to get my internship this summer, is you can just go on to companies' websites, and if you click About Us or Careers, one or the other, you can usually find if they have any open positions, or you can just find an email of somebody and email them with your resume and kind of give them a little like personal introduction about yourself and explain that you're seeking an internship. If you're not sure who to contact, or if they don't have a specific like careers person, contact the human resources manager, because that is the person that is usually in charge of hiring and recruiting new employees. So like, let's say you've always wanted to work for Coca-Cola and you've looked on tons of internship websites and you just don't see any kind of openings. Don't let that discourage you. Go under their like careers portion of their website and contact whoever you need to contact. It's worth a shot, and that's actually what I did with my current internship. They didn't have any kind of posting. I basically just reached out and I was like, I need an internship. From personal experience, in the subject, I would just write internship inquiry and then write a little like, you know, synopsis about yourself, and make sure to include a well-written resume. So moving on to resume and cover letter. The resume and the cover letter is kind of what's gonna help you get your interview. So if you guys don't know what a resume and a cover letter are, they are basically ways for you to kind of stand out to the company. So a resume is a chronological list of all of your past work experience with any skills required for that job. I have worked very hard on my resume, and I'm gonna go ahead and share it with you guys. So I'll have it linked below if you wanna use this kind of like as a little like outline on making your resume. If you are applying to jobs, you need a resume. So if you don't have one already made, you should go ahead and start that. When making a resume, it's really important to just limit it to one page and make sure the skills that you mention on your resume are relevant to the jobs you're applying for. So you wanna make your potential employers be like, oh my gosh, we could use those skills that she mentioned in our workplace, if that makes sense. And it's also really important to have good references. So I personally have 2 references on my resume that both work at very reputable companies in Charlotte, and basically references are there in case your employer wants to call and just kind of verify that you would be a good employee to their company. So make sure you ask your references in advance, like, hey, can I use you on your resume? They'll probably say yes, but it's good just to kind of give them a heads up in case they do receive a call from that person. And then cover letter is equally as important as a resume, if not even more important. A cover letter is basically what you're going to include when applying to any job. If they say cover letter optional, do a cover letter, because you don't want to look like that lazy girl that's like too lazy to write a cover letter. It literally takes like 10 minutes, you guys, and once you've written a couple, they get easier and easier to write. The whole point of a cover letter is to show a company how interested you are in working for them, as well as show them what you can bring to the table and what you know about their company as well. So once again, I'm gonna go ahead and include my sample cover letter down below for you guys to look at, and I really, really encourage you guys to use these as resources because they've scored me both my internships. It's also really important though to make sure the cover letter is tweaked for each company you apply to. You don't want to send out the same cover letter to every company because they're going to know that it's the same. name. So for example, if you're applying to Bank of Hawaii, you would talk about like the experience you have in banking and how you've been studying, you know, finances and stuff during school and what you know about their company. And then if you're maybe applying to like a marketing firm, you're not going to talk about finances. You're going to talk about all the marketing techniques you know and everything about their marketing firm, if that makes sense. Keep in mind that resumes and cover letters have a standard layout that is supposed to be followed. I learned this through my business communications class that I took last semester, but if you haven't taken a class like that, that's totally okay. You can just look up on Google like resume and cover letter outlines and it'll all come up for you. There was one other thing that I did want to point out before I move on to my next point. So let's say you're on LinkedIn and you see a job posting and you apply for it through LinkedIn. And then maybe on the posting site, you see that there's a separate email that they've included. I would highly encourage taking that email address and just emailing it a copy of your cover letter and resume. And then in the subject, just put internship inquiry and then just do a little like introduction. Because on those portals, they get hundreds and hundreds of applicants. But if you email that email separately, it's much more likely to be seen. And I'm pretty sure that's why I got my internship last summer, because I went ahead and reached out separately versus just applying through the portal only. Sorry, I know that's confusing, but that's actually something really important that could like make or break whether you get it or not. All right, so next, follow up. If you have not heard back from any companies or maybe just the one company you really wanted, I would highly encourage contacting the HR manager and just sending a really nice message and say, hey, you know, I applied for blah, blah, blah internship last week. I was just wondering if you've chosen that applicant or not, or if you're still in the interviewing process. I would love to set up an interview time. You just really have to kind of like be bold. I know saying something like, I would love to set up an interview can just be kind of like out of someone's comfort zone. I personally did not like having to say that, but if that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. Obviously just be nice and be genuine, but it's definitely important to follow up because you just have to remember that these recruiters get tons of applications and some companies don't even have recruiters, meaning that like the GM is in charge of finding the interns. That can kind of be overwhelming. So if you can, definitely follow up to the right person. And then if all goes well, you will get the call or the email for an interview. You usually do have to interview. I don't think I've ever seen someone just get an internship without an interview. In fact, that would probably be kind of shady if a company's like that desperate for someone, but make sure you prepare for your interview because an interview is basically what's going to kind of tie that knot and get you the internship. There are so many different mock interview questions you can look up. In fact, if it's a specific position that you're applying for, let's say you are applying for a like financial analyst position, you can look up financial analyst interview questions and practice as far as what they might ask you. So yeah, I would definitely prepare for possible questions. Make sure you have your outfit picked out ahead of time. Make sure you get there 10 minutes early. Don't get there at 9, get there at 8:50. It always looks good to show up early. That way, in case something comes up, like there's traffic or you can't find parking or something like that, that you have that little leavage time because you don't want to be late for your interview. Make sure you dress well. That doesn't mean you have to show up in like a full-on blazer, but I would definitely wear nice dress pants, flats, a blouse, a cardigan. Just be more modest. Don't show up wearing like, you know, a romper or like spaghetti straps and a short skirt. But yeah guys, that is basically all the points that I personally have for you as far as how to get an internship. From personal experience, it's not been that hard. There are so many companies out there that are looking for interns, especially during the summer. So right now is the perfect time if you're looking for one. If there happened to be anything that I did not cover that you had a question on, feel free just to comment on this video. If you guys are frequent viewers of mine, you would know that I reply to pretty much every comment I get. So I would love to help you guys out because I know when I was looking for my first internship, I definitely had questions. But I'm gonna go ahead and answer the questions that I got on Instagram. If you're not following me, definitely do check me out on there. All right, so Dorothy asks, when should you start looking for an internship and how many should you apply for? I would start looking for one sooner rather than later. I personally got my summer internship in January, so I was like on it, I was looking. That was kind of because I knew I had to intern in Hawaii versus in Charlotte, but the one I got in Charlotte last year, I didn't apply for it until like April, so it really just depends on how much like you want that internship secured. But at the end of the day, the earlier you start looking, the better. And then just apply to as many as you want. Obviously, don't apply to something if it doesn't sound interesting, but it's good to apply for at least a few in case you don't hear back from some of them. Riley asks, what do you do if you get an internship that's unpaid and you don't find out that it's unpaid until you start working there? If it's a paid position, it will most likely say on the job posting that it's paid. paid. And also jobs are pretty good about mentioning if it's unpaid because they just don't want to have like that awkward scenario happen. Caroline asked, do you have to be in college to get an internship or taking college classes actually to get an internship? And no, actually, like most companies, yeah, it looks good if you are in school, but some companies will hire you if you're not in school and you're just looking for relative experience. So just because you're not taking college classes or not in school at the moment, don't let that deter you from applying to jobs. Obviously, like some internships are going to want a student, but not every internship is going to hire only students. And then the rest of the questions I'm seeing I basically covered in this video. So I hope this helped one or two of you guys out. Go get an internship. It's awesome just to kind of have that real world experience. It's a hell of a lot better than waiting tables or working in retail or something all summer. It's just really rewarding and it makes you excited to graduate college, and you just meet so many older people, and I don't know, I just really like it. But yeah, that is basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I did just want to say thank you so much for all of the love and support you guys have been giving me lately. I love you guys so much, and once again, for like the 10th trillionth time, don't forget to check me out on Instagram. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye guys.